and today I'm going to talk about Microsoft Word 2010, using Microsoft Word 2010 to create an electronic form. Um, this is an advanced feature of Microsoft Word 2010. I'm going to go with the assumption that you have the basic knowledge of Microsoft Word 2010. So I'm not going to go into the basics of 2010. Okay. Before I start the session, I would like to introduce the organization that's sponsoring this program. Um, the company is called NR Computer Learning Center. We have been in business for 8 years. We are located in Orange, California, and we provide computer training, certification program, and courseware for anyone who is interested in upgrading their skills. We are Microsoft, CompTIA, CIW, CVE, and EC Console authorized training center, and we are also partnered with the 3 largest testing organization, that's Certiport, Prometric, and Pearson. So if you have any question regarding these, just let us know. About myself, I have over 20 years of software development experience, 15 years of IT training, worked in several different industries, small to large companies, including General Motors, Toyota, EDS, Computer Science Corporation. I specialize in software development, project management, and web analytics. Also, I am Microsoft certified trainer and certified by Project Management Professional Institute. Okay. I have bachelor's and master's program bachelor's in electrical engineering from University of California, Irvine, master's in computer science from IIT Chicago, and an MBA from UCI, University of California. Today's objective will be to understand what is a form, electronic form, and how you can use Microsoft Word 2010 to develop your own form. The tools are available under Development tab. So in order to create a form, you do need to have a developer tab. So I'm going to show you how to turn that on, and also where the content controls are listed so that you can use them on the form when you're creating an electronic form. And then we'll take a look at the next step from there. Okay. What is a form? Form provides a way to gather information in a structured, organized format. A form is created using controls. So let me show you an example of a typical form. Okay. A typical form may look like this, where we are used to have, this is a simple form created using text and a line. Now the issue with these type of form is that if you type any characters, let's say my first name, Vazy, it moves the character around and rearranges it, the characters within the file, which messes up the whole structure of your form. So you have to go back and delete it, and there's the end of the line missing. So with the help of controls available in Word, you can develop a form so that you provide a space in your form where a person can type in the text and doesn't reorganize your data in the or the format of your registration form or the form you're creating. Okay. So the form is created using the content control, and these are some of the content control that are available. And we'll take a look at those content control um, features that are available in Word. They are under Developers tab. Okay, in order to turn it on, you do have to. It by default, your Microsoft Word doesn't. By default, it's turned off. So in order to turn it on, you have to go to the File tab, click on Option, select the Customize ribbon, and add Developers tab to your default tabs. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So let me bring up Word again. So this is Word. By default, you don't have this tab. This is the tab that you want to turn it on, and this tab has the controls for the form. So in order to turn it on, you need to go to the File menu, okay. Go to the Options button, click on that, and then you will see Customize ribbon. Okay, select that, and here all the features available in Word are listed. So what you want to look for is right here is those are the most popular commands that are used. But if Developers tab is missing from the left hand side, then you want to say All Command, and it will list all the commands that are available within Microsoft Word. Here you want to look for Developers tab. Once you find the Developers tab, which we already have added right here. So when you find your Developers tab on your left hand side, click on Add, and it'll add the tab on the right hand side. So you'll see something like this. Okay, clicking on, once you have added to the right hand side and you click on OK, you will see a Developers tab on top. Okay. So that's the Developers tab. The reason we want the Developers tab to be turned on is because the controls group is in the Developers tab. You will not have access to these tools unless you turn the Developers tab on. Okay. Why use form control in Microsoft Word when you're developing a form? It helps to first of all organize your data, and you're collecting the data in a structured format. It keeps the layout the way, it keeps it consistent, the layout of the form. As you noticed earlier in that example, that if you don't use form and you're using a regular text to create your form, then as you type, it overwrites the characters you had in your form, and it reorganizes the data. So in order to keep it the form to be consistent and collect the data, it helps to use a form. The other thing is that once you have the data in Word in a structured format, it's easy to import it to an Excel file or any other tool that you want to use to manage your data. A lot of people use forms. Managers, you may have also seen it, hospitals or teachers, administrators, business owners. So to make your life easier when filling up a form, it helps to have these control. Developing a form using control helps collect data easily. Okay, so I'm going to take an example and create a form using this old style or regular style form that you may have already existing in your existing in your business. So let's work. I'm going to work with this form. So this form already, the layout is there. So before you, if you're going to create a form from scratch, then you want to plan and know what are the fields you're going to have, and what are the, if they're going to have if they should have drop down or options. Those type of things needs to be decided before you start creating a form. For example, and I'm going to have these as a checkbox so that I can gather information on whether they want to take courses in Word, Excel, or PowerPoint. The field right here, I want it to be a date format so that they only enter a date in the specific format that I allow them to enter the information. Rest are going to be text field where they can type in their first name, last name, the address, city, state, zip, and phone number and email. So these are just going to be a simple text box, and here I want it to be specifically date format and these to be checkbox. And I'm going to also add a drop down where I want to know if they want to take the class online or classroom or in a classroom setup. So let's create a format. So in order to create a format form, it's a good idea to use table so that you can align these text and have underline or lines. You can add lines to your table. That way when you're printing your forms, you have, if you have the you have a placeholder where they can enter the information. So I'm going to start with a table. Insert table. And since I need, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 rows, and I probably need 1, 2, 3 columns. So I'm going to have 3 columns and 4 rows. Okay. Now, actually, I need one more. I'm sorry. I would need 6 columns. Insert 6 columns and 4 rows. Okay, so we're going to have first name. I'll just drag it up there. Last name. I wanted 6 columns. I must have selected 5. So I'm going to add one more column because I want 6 columns. Okay. I want the address, second row to be an address field. Third row to have city, state, a zip, a phone number, email, space holder for email address, and a space holder for date. Okay, I'm going to create some space between the rows. So increase the paragraph spacing, and maybe make it a double space, and align the text. Table. Yeah, I need to center align it. So I need to go back to my paragraph and center align it. Have 6 spaces before. Okay, this is good. Okay, now for the first name, I don't need these 2 cells, so I'm going to merge the cells and merge the cells. They can be 1 row. I need that space, I need this. Okay, so this is good. Now, I don't want these lines to be visible, so I'm going to select the table and I'm going to change the properties so that the table properties, those lines don't show up. So border, no lines. Okay, so they are within the cells, but to a user, those cells are not visible. Now I'm going to add the controls. So I need to go back to developer tab, and the rich text control is more for if you do have more than one line that you need, like for example comments, you may use rich text control so that a person can add more than one line of text. But since we want one line of text, we are going to select the plain control. The other thing you'll notice that the design mode is on. What design mode lets you do is see the text within and these tabs. Okay, now here this is the text that will get displayed on the form, so I am going to say enter your first name. Okay, that's the design mode. And if a regular mode, for a visitor, for a user, they're going to see something like enter first name. Okay. Now since we want to have an underline right below that, so we're going to go back to table view, and we need to go back to the table layout design view, and we want a border, bottom border. We just want the bottom border. Oh, it's I just want this border right here. And I need to do the border before I do. Okay, I need to do the border before I do the controls. So let's take care of the border first. Okay, so let's put the border first, layout, and I need these borders, a space holder for my content. Oops. Actually, if you start from the bottom, that's better because it clears the top line. So let's start from the border. And I have my address name, space holder for name. Okay, now we're going to add our controls. So we need to go back to the developer, and here is our one control. The other control is going to be here. We need one for address, one for city. And you may see this text, but we are going to change the content of the text so that it doesn't take two line spaces. Okay, and these are all text box. Now, once we have added the control, we can easily go and let me go to the design mode and edit it, and I'm going to say enter first name. Enter last name. Here, enter the address. address. This would be the city. Here you have the state. Here you have the zip and phone number. And this would be the email. Okay, this is a developer's view, and if you want to take a look at a regular view, just click on that design mode and it'll turn it into the mode that user will see. Okay, so let's go back to design view again, and this time I want to add the date format. Here is the control for date picker, and if you click on it, it'll give you an option to for date picker. So let's select it or enter date. Okay, so this is a design view. So let's go back to the regular view and let's take a look at it. So when a user will see enter date, and if they click on the drop down, it gives them the calendar view, and they can pick and choose the date they want to enter. Okay. Now if you want to change the look and feel of that date, go back to the design view. Here, if you click on the properties, it'll bring up the property view for that particular control, and it gives you an option for title and tag. Title is used for it's a title that you'll see if I say date, and tag is the one that's used by XML if you're exporting data out of Excel out of Word and you want to import it into Excel. You can use these tags to read data from Word to Excel. And tags need to be, each of these control components can have a unique tag. Okay. Here content control cannot be deleted. If you click on that, then a user cannot delete that control from your form. And if you select contents cannot be edited, then it's read only. With the date, you also have a format option to select from. There are several different formats you can select it from, date and time, and so on. Okay. And this is what it'll look like in a user view. So if you take a look at it, this was the title that we had just entered, date. Each of these have property associated with it. I'll just change a property for this one. Rest of them are these control are same as the control over here. So the text control. So here, let's call it email. The tag, that's for the XML. So I'll call it email also. So these, it's optional, it's not required. Okay. Again, if you want the content control not to be deleted by the user, then click on it. They cannot delete it. If you don't want them to be able to edit the information, just have it view only, you can click on that, and again, those are optional. Okay, this will, the difference between the rich text and the plain text is, as I said, that rich text allows you to have multiple lines, but you can convert a plain text to rich text just by checking this option here, which will allow a person to add return character that will allow them to add more than one line of text. Okay. So that's the plain view. Okay, so if you take a look at it, this one we didn't restrict a user from deleting that control. So now we, as a user, I have an option to delete this control. Okay, so this one, the control, I was able to delete it as a user. I'm not in a design mode, and that's because we didn't turn on this content control cannot be deleted. So because it's not turned on, a user can delete it. So you want to make sure that they're not able to delete that. Okay. So I'm going to remove all these lines we had, the blank, fill in the blank form. And now our form is created. I need to remove the date also, and say enter. I need to be in design mode, and I want to say enter date. Okay, this is going to be our checkbox. So this time I'm going to use the control for the checkbox right here. I'm going to remove these lines. Instead, insert a control box, and maybe get some space between the control box and the text. Here is my control box. And this is another control box. Okay. Okay. I also want to give a option for a user to either select an online course or whether they want to take this course as a classroom hands-on training. So I'm going to use a drop-down list so the user can select the option. Okay. Choose an item. So let's go to properties, and I'm going to say choose an option. Okay. And this is a tag, so, and that's the XML tag. It cannot have any spaces. Option word 2010. Okay. I'm going to add cannot delete. I don't want a user to be able to delete my controls from the form, so I'm going to check that, and I'm going to, instead of saying that choose an item, I'm going to say choose your option. Your options. Okay, and I'm going to add online or classroom training, or do they want distance learning? Distance. Yes, learning. Yeah, okay. Do they want one-on-one training? Click OK. And that's my, instead of choose an item, I want to say choose your option. Okay. Don't worry if it goes into the other next line, because it's again, we are in the design mode where you can see the tags, but when you're in a in a presentation mode, the user will see a drop down and they'll see the options that are available to them. Okay. So they can select the training they want and select the options. Okay. You would repeat the same thing for the Excel to 2010, PowerPoint 2010. Okay. So what we looked at now was adding a text, rich text. We also looked at adding a date field. Okay, date field. We also looked at adding a checkbox, and we looked at the drop down. So one thing we also need to take a look at is the picture. So let's say you want you sent this form to someone and you also want them to provide you with the picture. Okay. I'm just going to take an example, and I'm going to add another row, and its picture is the control is the same, similar to all the other controls we looked at so far. So just by clicking on that picture, it'll give you a placeholder for the picture. So now, if the picture that is provided is larger than what you have, so let me pick a picture that would be a sample picture. Okay, let me pick up from an RCLC event. Insert. Okay, it adjusted the size. That picture originally is larger than the size that you see here, but it adjusted to the size that you had provided in that box. So what that does is it keeps the format of the form layout consistent. It does not change with the size of the image. Rather, it changes the size of the image to fit that box. So that's a placeholder. So these are all placeholder for the text you provide, placeholder for the text where user can enter. Now this form, you can either email it to someone, or you can save it as a template so that could be used. But before we do that, let me also show you how you can restrict a person from changing other things. So you may not want that user to be able to change the other text, and you just want them to fill the form. So in order to restrict a person from changing any of the text, you click on restrict editing. That'll restrict a user from editing any of these text. Click on limit formatting to a selection of the style, and allow only this type of editing. You want to make sure that you have selected filling in the form. If you don't allow them to fill in the form, they'll not have access to even these fields. So you want to say fill in the form. That's the only thing you're allowing them to do. And yes, start enforcing protection. Now when you click on yes, start enforcing protection, it'll pop up a window so that you can enter a password, and that password will stay with you and only allow you to edit the text. So you want to make sure you remember that password, or make a copy of this form before you assign a password to the form. And if you make a copy as a developer version and name it as a developer version, then that way you can always go back to your form to change it in case you forget the password for the form. Okay, so once you enter the form, I'm not going to assign right now password, but even if you don't assign it and say okay. Now the thing is, if you email this form to anyone, even though there is no password assigned, but it's restricted from editing. So the only thing they have access to is these fields that you created, and you can the user cannot edit anything else besides the text, the control area or the text area that you have provided them access to. Okay, I cannot move this object. Okay. Okay, stop protection by going to restrict editing. If you want to stop protection and you want to make changes, just click on restrict pass editing, and that will release the restriction. Now the thing is, if you don't assign a password, even if you email this form to a user, an expert user can always knows how to turn it on, and they can make changes. So I hope that makes that helps. Now, if you want to save this once you have created, let's say you've created for your organization and you want to save it as a template, then just go to File, Save As, Document, and you should see Word Template. Click on that. That will be saved as template. So when you save it as template, right now I'm not going to save it as template, but when you save it as a template, you want to save it as template, close it, then come back and open it. When you create a new one, and when you create a new one, you will see your template listed here. Okay, recent template. If you want, I can show you right now. So let's say I created this, save as, and I'm going to call it template. I'll call it NRCLC registration form. Okay, close it, bring up Word again, File, New, and recent template. Saved it somewhere. Okay, I should have noted where it's saving my template. Oh, my template. Okay. Okay, it saved my template somewhere. I didn't make a note of where it did, but once you have your template saved, then you can bring up your template as a file. Template. Okay, it's saved somewhere, believe me. So you need to keep track of where your template is saved so that you can open your template. Oh, and I see right here. Okay. So now if you look at it, it's a new document, document 13, and here I have the calendar email, so I can email it to the person. But if you remember, I saved the template with these information already selected. What you want to do is when you create a template, you don't want to have these selected. It should be unchecked. The picture should be, there should be no picture. Okay. So that's the developer version. So what we just went through was turning the developer on. We took a look at that. Then we looked at the controls. We looked at the rich text content control. That's the plain text content control. The picture. We looked at drop-down control, which was the classroom training or other training that you may want. Then we took a look at the checkbox, and we also took a look at the date picker. Okay. So that's creating a form, saving it as template so that you can reuse it, or you can mail it to your colleagues so that they can fill in the form. Okay, so let me go back to the presentation. Okay, so what's next? We do have online courses available for people who cannot travel. We also have Word. These dates are old, but every month online session starts. These are 6-week courses that you can take a look at. We also have live online training that we do every Friday on covering different topics. So you can go to the site and check out the upcoming topics. And we cover different topics based on how technology could be used to improve productivity and make it cost efficient. You already have, most of the companies already have these tools and how they can use to improve their productivity. We also have classroom training. You can go to our classroom training site, and if you're local, you can always get a hands-on training. We also do corporate training, and we also provide private one-on-one lessons. So if you do need individual lessons, let us know. Our contact information is right here, and I am going to open the session for questions. And I'll take the questions. Let me go through the questions that are already there. Will this training be placed where we can review it? Yes, we will post it on YouTube, and we'll email the link to everyone who have signed up for this webinar. So that if you need more information, let me know. But I'll post it on the YouTube, and I'll email it to everyone. Okay, nice. Thank you, Jay. Nice job. Very well explained. Good. Please, how can I create the city and address? City and address. Vincent, are we talking about a drop-down city and address, or let me bring up the form. Okay. City was right here. It's the same way this is just a text box actually, because this is coming from template, so I cannot change. I have to go back to template, or let me bring up another, right here is another form. Okay, this is a different form, but city, again, this was a, yeah, you can only make changes to your template. If you created a form so you have to, if you want to make any changes, you have to go back to your template and make the changes there. You cannot make it change in a form that's created from the template. Can I create the city again? Okay, thank you so much. This was an incredible training. Good. I'm glad it helped some of you guys. And can you designate must fill? How that work on the form like this? Must fill. You can't designate as must fill fields right now, because it requires it requires macro for that. So you can do it, but you do need to write a macro for that one. Can you designate must fill? Yeah. Okay. I hope that answers it. Okay. Any other question before we call it a day? Okay. Thank you for attending this session and taking the time away from your busy schedule, and hope to see you next week or other seminars that are coming up in the future. So please visit our instructor-led free online training, and look forward to hearing from you guys again. Thanks. Bye.